Ladies and gentlemen, it is time. I've been waiting. You know, honestly, when you know that the weekend seems long because the game is going to be that good during the week, you know that the games are going to be that good. My name is HellBird. I'm joined by notAhero tonight, and welcome to Esports EGL One, Sinister 5 versus DUC. Man, it's good. You can taste it in the air. There's some fine Dota brewing there. notAhero, what do you think?
This is going to be a interesting one because DUC is kind of like on the swing up, and Sin 5 is kind of still showing strong performances, but they've also shown that they are beatable. So a team like DUC can definitely cause an upset here tonight if they come with the A game. I think a lot of it's going to go down to the draft. I think if the drafts are favorable, then DUC is good. But if Sin 5 pulls out a banger of a draft, then there's going to be a bit of trouble for DUC, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get too far down like into tonight's game, I actually would love for you to set the set the table for us for this feast we're about to enjoy, right? Because it's been a very interesting tournament so far already, and there's a reason I'm so excited about it. And I want to go back a step. So, what has been happening in EGL One, notAhero?
So last week was the week of upsets, and it was the week that I think blew the Dota scene in South Africa's minds a bit. We had Hayes Gaming that went up against Pingu, and they beat them 2-1. It was just a clinical performance by Hayes. Their drafts were strong, and Pingu kind of like recovered in the second game with their draft, but in the third game, I think Hayes outdrafted them and then played towards it. They did what they needed to do on the map, and big upset. Hayes Gaming taking Pingu out of the tournament. They've gone home. That was lower bracket, and then a few days later, we had WRG up against Aura Gaming, and if you had to put this on a betting side, I think it would have been like 90-10 odds for like WRG taking that series. And once again, it came down to drafting, and they kind of like WRG played the first game, they won. The second game went to the side of Aura, and then the third game, Aura Gaming just like RDK went for a comfort pick on the Naga Siren, and it looked like Aura was 100% ready for it. and they picked up a Brewmaster, which is so good against Naga because during the entire early game, it just kills her illusions instantly, and Naga can't just song and TP out because a hero is always going to get caught by the green panda, and we saw it happen. And you lost your mind, I lost my mind. I didn't know who I was after that game. I had to go for a long walk in the morning just to like get my thoughts together. It was ridiculous. Like that series was. It was mind blowing, and big teams going home. Pingu went home, WRG went home.
Which is, it's so weird. And the thing is, we were chatting about like who knows how things are going to turn out, because there is still an interesting matchup between Punks and MWG Zulls. So that match is still yet to happen, but theoretically, although I imagine Punks would still definitely be favorites, and I would definitely still be surprised if they were knocked out, it's possible that in the same round, Pingu, Punks, and WG go home, leaving a potential Haze Gaming, Frostbite Esports, Aura Gaming, and MWG Zulls, round 3, which is crazy because it's no disrespect to any of the sides, obviously. It's just that to happen to all 3 of those sides, it would be ridiculous. The fact that it was 2, absurd. But who knows? Can Zulls do it? It's going to be a tough one for them, but I certainly haven't counted them out yet.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing that we have in the scene going on at the moment. It was those teams went in as favorites. They were in the discussion for invited teams before this tournament. Like all of them. Like Punks was directly invited. Okay, so they're still in. They've got a game coming up on Thursday evening. But Pingu was in the discussion of a direct invite team, and so was WRG. And they've been taken out by 2 up-and-coming teams. Haze Gaming looking extremely solid. Their drafts are good. They adapted to the meta. Same with Aura Gaming. And to give credit, like I'm gonna say it openly, like we had Sun5 offered coaching to teams that qualified for the tournament, and Castaway was involved with both of those teams. And
yeah,
I don't know.
I saw that tweet. I was like, maybe there's something to it. But okay, we're starting to bring this a little bit closer home to where we were at. I mean, let's chat about Sinister 5. They're obviously a very interesting squad. They changed not so long ago, and I think we all looked at that change and we're like, wow, this is it. This is the team that's going to win everything all the time, always. Thanks so much for everyone for coming. And then Energy were like, nah.
No, definitely not. And I kind of think Energy has kind of found the recipe on how to make Sun 5 beatable, because everyone started focusing a lot on these Filthy Frank, or his name is Grove now at the moment, on his heroes. And we would see, like in the first phase, his heroes would be banned out. It would be like Trend Protector gone, Techie's gone, and Frank, because if you gave him those heroes, it was just frustrating to play the map, and it was terrifying. So Energy kind of took the Techies out, because Techies changes the entirety of how you play Dota, and they left the other ones in, and they dealt with it. So Energy had this template of, forget about Filthy Frank. We're not here to beat Filthy Frank. We're here to beat Sun 5, and that's what they ended up doing. And I think if DUC kind of follows that example tonight, this is going to be a really good series. They must just get the Techies out of the pool, because he will pick it if you don't ban it, and then focus on the rest of your draft. Make sure your draft is well-rounded, and then this Filthy Frank running around the map, like causing you to be under pressure the entire time, is not so scary, because you're the one that's applying pressure.
If I may just double down on that, you and I played a game together against Techies recently. Actually, a pretty handy Techies there, and it was such a good example to me. Just remind you what Techies does to the game, because there's so many decisions that you normally make instantaneously, because it's the right time, but there's just information you no longer have that completely changes the way that you play Dota, the way you move around the map, etc. So I definitely do think that the admin of playing against Techies is just too high, especially when it's being handled by one of the most capable players in the country.
And if you're not used to it, like that's the thing. Like, how often do you really find these Techies games? It's not like you're playing against the Dragon Knights and you know the counters, or you're playing against Void Spirit currently middle and you know it's not so strong. Like, you're playing against this Techies, and your entire pattern on the map changes, and it makes it a headache. So I definitely think Sin 5 need to take the Techies out, but then don't focus too much on the other heroes. Yes, they might pick Treant. Yes, they might pick Evesports. They might pick Tuskar for him. He plays a lot of Rubik as well. But leave those heroes. If he wants to take them, then let him take them and deal with like make sure your draft can deal with the other things on the map. And if DUC does that, I think they're in for a shot here. But it's definitely going to be a lot on how DUC is going to see. I see E&D is in tonight. I don't know if FSM is going to be playing. Usually E&D and FSM swap around. And that kind of means that Muffin might go to offlane and Legend might play carry. Like, this is the thing with DUC. They swap roles like there's no tomorrow. If it's a good Death Prophet game, Legend plays middle. If it's a good Alchemist game, Crimson Tide plays middle. But their normal standard lineup, Crimson Tide will be middle, Muffin Man will be offlane, and then they go with FSM. Like Crimson Tide middle, Muffin Man will be safe lane, and then FSM would play offlane. But FSM's not here, so are we going to see this switcheroo of roles? And they also do it hero specific, so it's really hard to draft against them.
Super
because
confused. Sorry,
Yeah.
did I catch it? So that's if FSM isn't here. Did I get that right?
if FSM is not here, then you'll probably see Crimson Tide go to the offlane.
Right.
Legend will go middle if they can get the Death Prophet, and Muffin will be safe lane. So it just changes. But if they
Oh,
can't
oh,
get Death Prophet, then Crimson will go middle again. Like it's just like, yeah, like you saying you're confused. Imagine playing against us, having to
Actually,
draft against it.
I want to say, how many people in this country are able to identify all the DUC possible rotate? You know, notAhero, you definitely you're one of a kind, because I must say, like, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I sometimes get confused about who's actually in DUC because of how many times there just seems to be somebody else around. You know what I mean? Like it's the only person I know, like 100%, he will always be DUC, and is of course Legend. I mean, that's goes for granted. But the people around him do seem to not necessarily leave DUC, but just they don't necessarily seem to pop up in the same places. So
Okay, so FSM just joined the lobby, so he is going to play tonight. They're missing Panini, which I feel is a big loss for them. Nothing against E&D, but I think Panini was part of their stable roster, and him on Pos 4 has been doing a lot of work. And Panini also had a short stint with Sin 5 in one of the tournaments that just passed, where Energy actually won. So Panini was not Sin 5 with Energy, so he actually played with Energy when they won that tournament. So also coming in with broader perspective of the game. He's played against Sin 5, he's beaten them, and he's not here tonight. So that might be a little bit of a thing. But let's talk about Sin 5 for a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna say this now. Schlenks is the maybe not unsung, because he's been getting a lot of traction, but I'm gonna say unsung hero of Sin 5. This man has been so consistent on this Pos 5. He does exactly what he needs to do. He makes the clutch plays. He makes the rotations on the correct areas of the map. He always seems to get farm, even as a Pos 5. And everyone always like, yeah, Castaway. Castaway is a great Dota player. He's one of the highest ranks in our country. Frank as well. Dota and Dias with them tonight. That's a stand-in. So they're missing MD, am I right? Or Aghanim. So we'll see now. They're missing MD or Aghanim. So Dota and Dias, yeah. Does that mean Castaway goes back to mid and Dota and Dia goes to offlane?
I guess it depends who's the next person who joins it, right? Because Sin 5 are missing a player, so
yeah.
So,
so that's interesting. Like we'll have to see who joins the lobby next, but that's not a loss. Dota and Dia is a great Dota player, and he's been with the majority of these players for a very long time. So I feel he'll slot in quite easily.
I guess it evens things out a little bit though, because then you do arrive with a position where both teams are not quite at their, I guess, optimal strength. I mean, once again, it's not no disrespect to either of the potential stand-ins here, but more so when you play more with a particular roster, when that roster has more wins,
synergy.
You're just gonna get more used to. You can smell what your teammate's gonna do. Hopefully not because they're smelly, but because you just play with them enough. But
what?
I was buying time to figure out where it takes this. Free stuff. That's where we're going next. Good, free stuff. Okay, so here's the thing as well. Bear in mind if you're joining us tonight, don't do anything yet. If you do anything now, I will get in trouble, and then I will find you, basically. So, but of course, we here at EGL One, we like to give away the free things, and today is a 250 rand Steam voucher, excuse me, and obviously you can put that towards whatever game if you always here, who knows, maybe you can get a whole bunch of them, buy yourself like a AAA title. But so that's going to happen later on tonight. We'll let you know when to start spamming in the chat. Don't do anything now though, please, otherwise I will be fired. And if you're a big fan of Snare, it probably means he'll come back, and you wouldn't have lost too much, but I'll be sad. So there we go. All right.
I'm staying out of this. Neutral.
I heard all about not a snare, huh? Treachery. That's what happened. Okay,
I didn't post anything. Okay, so Agon just joined the lobby. I am assuming then they could put Dota and Die middle. They did it like one of the previous tournaments because old mid player likes his Tinker, etc., etc. So interesting to see if it's going to be a Castaway mid or Dota and Die mid. So
by the way, actually, I think it'll be a Dota and Die mid because he actually used to let's go back. So when he started his almost run into the high tiers of Dota, I used to call him Pocket Castaway because he used to play very similar heroes to Castaway, also played mid obviously, and he had the whole Dota and Die Tinker was a thing back then. So I'd actually love to have a little bit of a blast from the past and for Sinister 5 to honor their current positions and then move.
Or like even like the wonky stuff where he was doing like Enigma middle.
Yeah.
So he was doing like Enigma middle. I actually just got some feedback from one of the spectators that MD's been replaced with Dota and Die. This is now the official roster.
Oh really?
Yes.
Oh,
that's playing mid.
That is very interesting. Oh, and Dota is playing mid. Okay, well.
You heard it here, like breaking news.
What's interesting is, as I was wondering if perhaps it was also like a potential change with Panini or something like that. So maybe there's a bit of a roster shuffle happening during this event, which would be very, very interesting to say the least. But we've had a pretty, I would say, unexpected tournament already so far. I mean, we were talking about the performance of a whole bunch of these teams, and DUC is actually one of them. They were not one of the invited sides. They're one of the four in the winners bracket. So in a way, you kind of go, well, I guess they're the top four, right? I mean, there's
they beat
an argument.
They beat Punks to be where they are now, and Punks was an invited team.
Yeah, and they beat Team Pingu. Obviously, they've already been knocked out, but Pingu was one of the other. I think they were probably like Team 6, or the worry with Devin coming into this.
Just a quick shout out to Berend Biceps for that little bit of information on Dota Die coming into the Sin 5 roster. Thanks, Berend. Much appreciated.
I like Berend. He's a good lad, right?
He's a good lad. Gives us the updated info.
Non-problematic, friendly, not toxic. I mean, in the like 3 games I've played with him in my life, he's been fairly non-toxic as well. So be like Baron. There we go. Anyways,
be right back. Be like Baron.
Let's get stuck in there, guys. We're jumping into the draft. It's time to go. Let's do the deed. DUC versus 5 game 1 coming right at you. The draft live as mentioned. Tinker, Techies, Winter Wyvern and Centaur Warrunner banned out so far, with one last ban for DUC. Will it be the tree, or do they let that one slide?
If they leave the tree in here, Sin 5 is going to snap pick up Dragonite or Mars. Like both those heroes just contribute a lot to the draft at the moment. So they kind of need to contemplate now. They're gonna, like we said, are they gonna focus the Filthy Frank or the Grove bans, or are they just going to ban out what's going to hurt their draft? So DUC does like to play heroes like Ursa. Oh, there's the Enchantress. That's also a good ban. Slinks plays a lot of inch, and the AA comes out instantly. So just nullifies all this healing strat. They already took out the Winter Wyvern, but it just stops like these Witch Doctor Undying, which DUC has actually been playing on Legend. I think it was 1 game. So not to read too much into that, but just counters the Holy Lockets, ensures that a lot of heroes are countered, and a lot of DUC's success at the moment has been with an Alchemist pick, and this AA obviously dissuades them from picking the Alchemist, and they snap pick the Death Prophet. If they can get that, they're going to do it. That probably means it's going to be Legend middle, FSM END supports Crimson Tide offlane and Muffin Man in the safe lane. So the roles have kind of been revealed with this pickup. They have run it in the past as a pos 4 or pos 5, but I don't think the hero is viable like that anymore after the slight nerfs. But she looks extremely strong as a mid laner at the moment.
I gotta say that the one thing that makes her strong. Okay, well this is getting real interesting, because I was gonna say the one thing that makes her strong is obviously her ability to sustain herself in a fight, to regen a huge amount potentially. Obviously through the Spirit Siphon, and of course at the end of her ulti. None of that matters when you get hit by an ALT. And you'd kind of think, well, that'd be that, and that's just something DUC are happy to accept because, but A could have been picked 5th for, theoretically. So they're just dealing with that. However, they then pick up the Oracle, and to me, that's very strange. I mean, we'll talk about the Mars in a second, but am I, do I care too much? Or is that Oracle a weird pickup going into the air?
So it is a weird pickup because of the ulti, but also Oracle can make you magic immune. So in those clutch fights where hero is about to die to the AA tech, the Oracle can save them in that regard. So it's not completely horrible. There is mechanics that works with it. You can also purge the cold feet like before it procs. So there is like things that Oracle can do against AA. And it also forces Sinister 5 to prioritize his Oracle. Like, as much as DUC wants to get this AA out of the fights. And that's the thing how you want to play against these heroes. Like, Oracle and AA, you want heroes that can jump them and get on the backline and take them out of the fights. And if DUC does that against this AA, then your Oracle's fine to ulti whoever he wants because there's no AA. But it goes both ways. So Sun 5 would also want to jump this Oracle, get him out of the fight so the AA is free to do what he wants to do. So it's kind of a... which pos 5 can survive the longest in these team fights. The Mars is a snap pickup, like we said. Sun 5 will probably go Dragonite or Mars on the first phase. Castaways from playing quite a bit of Mars. I do think it's a hero that he's comfortable on and they like a lot. Mars plus AA is a big kill threat on the map. They do take Lifestealer out. I guess that's just so he doesn't lane into this Mars hero and he doesn't have to, like, he can go a comfortable skill build. DUC take out Queen of Pain. That might be set up for a Templar Assassin pick. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sinister 5 takes out TA here. So I'm not even running the TA even as a safe lane pick. So I'm not sure. Could be, yeah, take out the Quap. Oh, is Quap good against Death Prophet in lane? I kind of think it goes both ways.
Yeah, actually, to be perfectly honest, I feel that up until 6, Quap can't really deal with Prophet that well because yes, you can just spam out the Shadow Strike, but notAhero will tell you that you just need to get 2 Ringer regens and you'll be totally fine.
Yeah, you're kind of fine.
Yeah,
and
for something like a DP, I think it's also a hero that wouldn't mind a little bit of extra regen going into the laning phase anyways. So I don't think Queen of Pain is... I could imagine a Queen of Pain beating a DP if the Queen of Pain was a much better player, but with that said, it's really hard because you go in for the Shadow Strike, potentially get hit by the Spirit Siphon, and obviously it's not slowing anymore is a problem for the DP, but theoretically you just run into it, right, and you get a little bit of extra HP damage done or whatever, or hit the Crypt Swarm. There seems to be enough there to not have to worry.
The Quap ban is definitely like for something that they want to pick up. And TA is also not the worst against it. You can get an early level of Meld and dodge it, but Quap can obviously get a sentry for it. So Rubik, that's FSM 0. He really likes his Rubik picks. I don't like the hero currently. It feels weird. It just doesn't feel good. When they made the change to like his passive to give cast range, it felt really broken. And then it just dived into the ground. Like teams just stopped picking it. Like how the meta changed, Rubik wasn't contributing in these skirmishes that happens between your 10 and 20 minute mark. Earth Spirit, so Filthy Frank hero, Grove hero. These are not supports that we see often anymore. Like these roaming supports. Like the meta has gone very much like dual range supports, which I don't like. I like the style of play that Sun 5 is going for. Earth Spirit plus Mars can run around the map. The AA plus Earth Spirit can actually kill something on their own. And DUC is not very tanky at the moment, apart from the DP. Like Oracle, Rubik, pretty squishy heroes. Don't really have much to stop this Earth Spirit from just like running at you, or even this Mars. What spells do they have which is scary at the moment? Not unless Rubik steals.
Right? That's the problem. Is that's such a big cooldown, and it's actually kind of easy to play around it, right? You force it out and just back off.
No big stun, no big nuke. I'm surprised Dragonite has gotten through the draft this far. I guess these two teams don't really have like a solid Dragonite player. The hero just feels way too strong at the moment from the offlane perspective, with like a blink dagger early and you max stun. It's just so good. It's a big disable. It sets up your team fights. It gives you tower push. But if DUC do go, their timings is a bit wonky because you've got DP plus Dragonite, which can work, but your two supports are very passive like supports. So what are they? They took out the PL as well, so they don't necessarily want to pick a hero that builds Battle Fury. I guess it's Ursa. They like Ursa. It's good against this Mars lane. Ursa. There we go. So yeah, the Ursa's kind of going Diffusal Blade at the moment, like Diffusal Blink Basher. It is a Muffin Man hero, so it does pretty well against the Mars. Can't really kill Mars because it just Mars just spears him when he goes at him. But the Ursa should have a free lane.
5 seconds
Something
remaining.
seems fishy. I don't know. Something about the DUC lineup doesn't quite. Like I know this. I don't know. Something just doesn't seem quite right with it. Like theoretically, that should be. We're expecting that that's a
Dire team back.
a mid DP, right? But
Hmm.
I'm wondering if it actually is.
Offlane DP?
I'm dead.
I don't
You
know.
make best situation out of no situation.
I don't like it. I think it has to go middle. This Bloodseeker hero has kind of made it weird now. Like when Death Prophet pops Exorcism, he just ruptures her. It's kind of a counter to counter, and she can't run after your heroes. So also really good against Ursa. Like he likes to be mobile in these fights. So Ursa does go S and Y, so he has status resistance. And we've seen a lot of Death Prophets in the pro scene against a lineup like this. They go Kaya Sanj, also for the status resist, and it's spell amp as well. So definitely they can go that route. This Bloodseeker pick counters 2 heroes at the moment. Don't necessarily. I thought this hero was gonna be like the carry of the patch when they like brought it shard in against strength heroes. It looked so good, and strength heroes in the offlane was so popular. But it just didn't happen. We've seen EG running a bit in the pro scene, and we saw WRG pick it up the other day. Zeus.
I will
That's a
say
Dota
this,
and Die hero. That's
you
a
do
Dota and
not
Die
want
hero.
to be inside a Mars arena, right? Like, if you get caught in arena blood right now, you're so dead.
10
Like,
seconds remaining.
The thing is,
particularly
he has to catch the Oracle though, because if
5
Oracle just puts his
seconds
W on the target that's in the arena, he doesn't take any
I'm dead.
damage from AA Blast
I'm
or
dead.
Zeus. Like he's basically magic immune for that burst.
They actually do have like they don't have a huge amount of physical damage now that you mention it, because obviously Mars he can hit really hard, so don't underestimate him. But Bloodseeker and Mars are both, I would still consider they're like hybrids. They both deal a combination of magic and physical damage in the form of God's Rebuke for Mars being his physical attack.
Bloodseeker is mainly pure damage though.
Sure, but I mean more so. Let's say it a slightly different way. I don't think they have a huge amount of punchy heroes. Like they're more reliant on spells. So things actually hitting you is a bit of a problem in my mind. But that's
I like
interesting.
that draft.
Yeah, the Broodmother
That's a
is
Crimson.
interesting one.
That's a Crimson Broodmother. It's a staple of his heroes. Like back in the day when he was in team with me, every game pick me Broodmother. He's like, no, they've got counters. Pick me Broodmother. It's Crimson, they've got counters. And Broodmother offlane is a really strong hero at the moment. And I don't think Bloodseeker AA can lane into this. The moment Broodmother hits 6, AA is food. He needs to leave that lane. I don't think Bloodseeker can stay there. Bloodseeker has tools, obviously. He can always put the Rupture onto the Brood. But then you need to decide if you're going to fight her or not. With with the Hunger, she just heals way too much. I like that pickup. It shows how they want to play the map. They're going to try and split the map. But Sin 5 has a lot of burst. Ove will have to have a really good game here. I think the tempo is going to rely on him. Because Aghanim will obviously want to hit timings. Once he hits 20 minutes and he gets that shot, then he can kind of fight. But itemization, is this Bloodseeker going to go Heaven's HellBird? Otherwise, Ursa is just going to run at them. I don't know. Very interesting. Who do you favor?
Oracle. The thing is, I want to say DUC, right? Like I do, but the Oracle just doesn't work for me, which is why I kind of feel like this is Sinister 5's draft, because to me that Oracle just. Let's go this way. I think if Oracle performs really well and somehow plays around the fact that there's limited healing opportunities from that there's a good chance that people that he does get his false promise on will still die anyway because he can't heal them, for example. I think if he can get around that, then I want to say DUC's draft. But that is a big question mark for me. I think
I'm gonna say DUC because there's.
notAhero? Alright, I think he wasn't allowed to finish the conversation. It's gonna go to me instead. So he was gonna say DUC for reasons that probably put thought it's a shame, but we're just going to get back into the what's going on with the lanes, and we'll wait for him to reconnect. But all right, let's get stuck into it. So at the moment we have,
I'm dead.
as suggested by
I'm dead.
notAhero, Crimson
Sorry, I
Tide.
just dropped there for a second.
Welcome back. We missed you.
Yeah. So DUC is on the dire side, eh? I'm reconnecting to the game now.
Yeah. So you were gonna say why you favor the DUC lineup, and it felt like you were gonna give us an answer about like you liked it because, and then a very poignant point.
They've got a lot of tower push. Like they've got ways to push towers with their profit ulti and with the Broodmother. So because of that, I think they can split the map effectively. I have seen Broodmother favored on the side of Radiant over Dire. That's kind of why I asked that question, because he can, when he puts his webs over the map, he's got access to Roshan. When he's on the Dire side and he does that webs over the map, he doesn't have access to Roshan at all. So that's kind of the thing I have. So in that regard, I do think Sin 5 has an advantage. No, DUC is on Radiant. You said they're on Dire, HellBird.
Thanks, guys.
It's probably recorded somewhere.
Okay, no, I really favor DUC now. You've got Broodmother on Radiant side. Once he takes over this jungle, you've got an Ursa. The Broodmother can secure the entire jungle. They can take Roche quite early, and then they just like kind of push towers down. So I favor Sin 5 here. They've got good tower push, and I don't think Sin 5 has a proper way to deal with it. They do have wave clear, obviously Mars, Bloodseeker, and Zeus, but those are your three cores. AA doesn't really want to just drop an Ice Blast to clear creep waves unless it's absolutely necessary.
Right. Well,
See.
let the players decide. Let's see what they're going to tell us how this will go down. Legend is going to take on Dota and Die in the mid lane. So this is, I actually want to talk about this. This is a lane that I think probably should, like, no one should possibly die, but if someone's going to die, it's probably going to be the Zeus, right?
Yeah, it's kind of even trade until they hit 6, and then I think the Zeus has kill threat. But Sin 5 is a team that you see, like the moment there's kill threat in a lane, especially from this mid lane, Grove will rotate here and kind of like just sit in the tree now and wait for this DP to dive. Legend has a note to the moment he knows he's strong to dive his opponent, and Sin 5 is a team that will know the moment he's 6, they need to start setting up for it. And I won't be surprised if we see a Grove rotation or even the AA rotation the moment this Death Prophet is level 6, because he is going to play aggressive. The skill build on Dota and Die is going to be interesting. He opted for the Arc Lightning level 1, so is he then going to max the Lightning Bolt, or is he going to go for the Static Field? Against DP, I think you go Lightning Bolt. Like, you just max Arc Lightning and the Lightning Bolt, and you just spam it completely. I don't know. I haven't played much Zeus recently.
Here's the thing. I actually want to point out that Legend has probably played more Death Prophet than any other South African. Like,
Any other human.
I was going to say, I'm pretty confident in saying that. Like, at me, if you know of someone who's played more Death Prophet than Legend, because I doubt it, right? And I actually would go as far as any other human as well. I doubt there are 100 people in the world, that have played.
Well, Dota Buff, he was top 100 on Death Prophet for a very long time. I don't know if he's still on that leaderboard, but he was top 100 on that hero for a consistent amount of time. Longer than Phalanx was there for Pudge. Like that's saying something.
So with that said, I imagine that he is likely to have played many of these matchups against Zeus, because Zeus is also one of the staple kind of, I'm comfortable picking hit mid heroes for a lot of players out there because of the nature of the hero being able to, I guess, keep his distance and has kill threat and just kind of needs to farm without having to, it's one of those kind of heroes. So he must be so used to bottom lane.
Going on bottom.
Where loses career, but it may come at the cost of Muffin Man, who's blocked out nicely by Cosmo. He's got nowhere to go. He's just being totally dominated here. Castaway. That was so good. In the end, will suffer the same fate, and they're even going to commit to this. Do they manage to get him down? Yes, they do. There's your first blood. Castaway is literally I can't believe how long he was able to body block Muffin Man for. That was fairly ridiculous.
Yeah, like Muffin Man kind of cut the wrong tree there, but I guess it's in the moment where you start panicking because this hero is blocking you. I think if he cut the little white tree there in that little bubble, he would have been able to have farthing. But oh wait, they're rolling on him. Oh, they missed it. Instantly. Good discipline by Sin 5. The moment that roll misses, they know they're not going to commit. You would see a lot of players just like kind of, oh well, he's halfway HP, let's just go. But good discipline. They're forcing this Ursa to use his regen. He started the lane with 6 tangos. He's already down to 4. So really
He
like
also
winning
just
the
got
region
solved,
battle.
by
Yeah.
the way. He got solved. I'm not sure if that was from end. And no, end still got one on him, so I doubt it. But he used a solve, and he got
Crossway's
baited
courier
by
die?
Ice Frog. That's
Crossway's
what
courier was
started.
dead.
Yeah,
Just
it's what
respawned.
started. Muffin Man went on the courier, and that's what started off that whole phase. So it's his fault that end died. Let's go with that.
It's his fault. The courier. So you got a courier kill and you gave him first blood.
Probably not worth it.
I would take that. I love killing couriers. It's mental warfare. Like your courier's dead, you've lost. So, good lane control by this bottom. Like the top lane is pretty passive. I don't think there's much kill through between the AA and the Bloodseeker. And this Broodmother is playing for levels. So FSM on the Rubik kind of just needs to make sure like when they're under tower like this, he needs to give him this XP. He's taking the XP. Like, I think you should give him solo XP. You want this Broodmother level 6 as soon as possible. Support him in the lane when the lane is out, but when it's under the tower, I think he needs to back away out of the XP range. Because Broodmother is extremely scary in this lane. The moment it hits 6. AA won't be able to lane. The Silken Bowler is just stupid, he just skilled it now. 25% slow, 100 impact damage, 100 impact damage. And it gives you an attack bonus of 5. Oh wait, another kill. Ursa?
Yeah, this lane, I didn't catch one, but I'm assuming that he got pinned up against the wall and was comboed down. But this lane is probably the biggest problem right now because top lane, where there's an engagement onto the AA, it looks like Schlings could be in trouble, but he does manage to get off the cold feet. So Crimson Tide unable to finish the job, and means he got a fair amount of damage onto the Broodmother themselves. I wanted to make the point as well going into this as Akram just keeps taking little chunks off of FSM's HP pool. This is a pretty interesting position for me because as somebody who personally loves Rubik, I can tell you that you need that 6 desperately as well. It's it feels like one of those real feels bad heroes to have to totally abandon lane because you're winning the lane. You don't even need to be there to support your carry anymore, but it feels bad because you want that 6 up. So this is a bit of an awkward one where I don't think we're going to see FSM ever leave this lane.
No, he needs to give this Broodmother space when the lane is pushed out. Like that's your power spike. That's how you want to play around your draft. So supporting the Brood while there's 2 heroes and they're trading hits, it's fine. But if the Broodmother is safe, he needs to give him the free XP. It's just like the Silken Bowler gives all units that attack the target extra damage. So that's including spiders. So it's 8 bonus damage per spider when you cast it on a target, and when it's max level, not level 1. But
How does that work with Fury Swipes, by the way? Is there any kind of interesting mechanic there?
so it's any unit that attacks it. So Fury Swipes will also stack with it.
I'm just gonna watch somebody pop.
Oh no, it won't stack with the Fury Swipes. Fury
No,
Swipes
I
will
know,
ramp up, and with every hit it'll do an 8 additional damage. 8 damage, 8 damage, 8 damage. It won't multiply.
I got you.
Yeah, so this mid lane, Dota and Die is farming these side camps as well, so his net worth is a little bit inflated. Or last hits is a little bit inflated. If you look at the net worth, the DP is actually ahead of him by about 200 gold. So Legend is fine with this. You knew this Zeus was going to be able to farm here. He went for the max arc lightning build with 2 levels of static field. Legend is tapping him. He's going to start getting ready for this dive. You'll probably see Grove rotate to the mid lane soon. But they are dumpstering the spot lane. I don't even think if they lose their Zeus at the moment, it's the end of the world. Oh!
Yeah, they bring down the Brood. Obviously, they timed that perfectly, by the way. The moment Schling's
The Ice
connected
Vortex.
with that chilling touch, you just saw the ulti come down from Zeus, and that was more than enough damage. So beautiful coordination. And I think an important one, because for that lane, it was the one that actually looked like there was a fair amount of pressure being placed by the Broodmother onto the Bloodseeker. But when you get a good kill like that, you get some extra XP, helps out your mid as well. That's a really
Also,
good
the Ice Vortex there, like that's an additional 12% damage. I think the Brood would have lived if it wasn't for that early level of Ice Vortex here by Schlings. So, like, it just slowed the Broodmother
bottom
for...
lane Castaway is going to try and run down in because he's getting the support that he needs coming in from Grove, but he's picked the long way, and that might just work out for him.
Yeah, he's got the mana. Oh, rotation. Rubik going down as well.
Yeah, Crimson Tide still being run down by Aghanim here, and they're being fairly merciless in this.
Yeah, I think Rubik needs to start putting pressure like somewhere else. Like, go bottom, just secure that lane. Crimson's not gonna like feel too bad if he can't hit
Mid lane,
creeps at the moment.
you don't have to talk. Apparently, Legend in trouble. The is going to try to go toe-to-toe with Grove. He's taking tower shots as well. So in the end, he goes down. It's a really cheap death, and he popped his ulti as well. I'm not too sure what he was thinking. I don't know. It felt like something wasn't quite right there. He didn't pop his magic's charges. He didn't really seem to respond well to what Grove was doing. I didn't see any Spirit Siphons coming out. So a little bit of a weird...
No, he did siphon the Spirit there,
Radiant's
but it was
Did
only,
he?
yeah, the siphon did come out,
Radiant
but
structures are
he
fortified.
popped the ulti there to go onto the Zeus. Like we said, he wants to play this lane aggressive, but Frank was going to be 100% ready for it. He knew that rotation was going to come soon. The moment Legend used his ulti, Dota and DUC probably communicated to his supports, and they rotated and got the counter kill. And that's also this Arc Lightning with a static field build. He's just chunking through this DP's HP. It's 6% of the health reduction per cast. So a little bit of stun there by the Earth Spirit definitely had enough to kill him, and that's DP ulti on cooldown. Like 60 seconds, your mid tower is pretty healthy, and Zeus is stacking for himself. Oh, he's got an arcane rune. What? Legend? Going on.
Does find Dota and DUC. He wants to try and pick up the kill here. Connect with the Crypt Swarm, but Don't Know his TP his way. Nothing to deal with that early on. He also popped his ulti though, which was interesting. I think it's for the Brood. The Brood is very low, and Aghanim will finish off the first kill onto him. Looks like they're going to spare FSM, but obviously it's a bit of a train wreck at the moment. You can see the net worth graph, probably worth bringing up at this point, that at the moment, Sinister 5 are just pulling ahead. The one person still in it at the moment is definitely Legend, but when you see that kind of large difference between the Ursa and the Bloodseeker early on, it's definitely a concern.
Oh, bottom.
Looks like the ulti will be there. Castaway will manage to find a kill onto Enzaracle. They're picking up kills too frequently in too many lanes. I don't feel like they want any lane.
Frank is level 6, Broodmother's level 5. Like that's how this is going. Rubik needs to leave this top lane. Broodmother needs to get 6 like we said, and he needs to, because that's Brood's like farming spike at the moment.
Oh,
and we saw that when they're
they're in mid. Yeah, they want to bring down Legend. He popped his ult again, but he's just brought down for free again.
This is ulti on CD again, and then mid tower is still alive. That's rough. Like I think when he does this rotation he does, yeah, the sort of ports need to like rotate in to help him, but they've got a Rubik Oracle. So it's really hard because there's not kill threat supports. Broodmother is level 6 now, so he's going to start building up. Oh, and they instantly TP'd Castaway top. The moment the Broodmother gets the spiders, they put the Mars in this lane, and he's at a good start. He's got a Vlad's. No boots, straight up Vlad's.
I mean, I guess that's probably the fact that, I mean, it deals with one of the big issues that I think Mars has, is the full mandatory mid lane. They're going to go in again. FSM in trouble here. Did manage to survive a little while, but should go down to the Blood Rite and does. ALT goes through. It should connect onto Legend, and Legend now in trouble. He also does throw out the Crypt Storm. It will get the first pick for them. They get 2, in fact, on the fight. But Aghanim is just charging away, and there's not enough to lock him down. Not enough damage from Purifying Flames available.
And Legend just died twice in a row. He just respawned.
I feel like
He
he
just
just
respawned.
3 times in a row because he died and then got nothing out of the previous death either. He popped his ulti, waited for it, popped his ulti, and then died again. So he is still definitely keeping up with the Bloodseeker at least. But look at the Mars. I mean, right now Castaway is in a very, very healthy position.
Yeah, he's just following this Broodmother's movements at the moment. But Brood is going to start playing in this area. They kind of do need to get this top tower for this to be hyper efficient, because then Broodmother can rotate between the jungle and the mid lane and apply pressure there as well. But you can see he's just setting up his webs across this map. But there's also no, like, the top tower hasn't been touched, HellBird. It's lost what, 24 HP, 23 HP.
Yeah,
That is horrible.
Also horrible math, but we love you anyway. but yeah, definitely they will engage onto Schlinks, and they bring him down pretty easily in the end. But in comes rotation from Castaway. Gets a good engagement off onto Legend. Legend is bouncing around off the wall. Does stay alive long enough though, and gets off the Spirit Siphon. Will now have to deal with all 3 of the 6-5 players though. Castaway good call and does. So this fight actually looking pretty good for DUC. But they have lost Legend. In the end, they're going to go after the Oracle. He does a good little bit of amount, and a Stolen Spear will keep Aghanim off them for the time being. But Grove goes and connects as well with the bowler, And now FSM should be the next victim here, although he gets a little bit of help from Muffin Man. Don't die though, wants help out his buddy as Grove does once more go in aggressively. Muffin Man did have the ulti though.
AA ulti?
However, the A ulti fly through, he started this fight. In the end, they just haven't been able to finish the job, and they're being kited very effectively. Agam will finally agree to take a man fight, and in the end, he does go down. Legend runs off there and die again, immediate TP, but is he enough damage? Maybe no, not quite. And he wants to at least pick up Agarim now. He's running him down. He needs to get some extra damage onto him, and the support is there. And it might not be enough, and isn't, as the Crypt Swarm does connect. Set Schlinks now backing off, but Legend needs to make something of it. He's popped his ulti, but in comes Castaway, and he will connect with the spear as well. Legend trouble. They drop the ulti from the A as well, and in the end, Sinister 5 take a very long fight, but certainly one that once again goes in their favor. They now top all 3 net worth positions, out of the top 3, I guess. And that's, of course, all in their cause, looking phenomenal. The only, I guess, spot of luck is I think Crimson Tide got a lot more out of the deal than anybody else individually.
Got some kills from the map, got this top tower. So this Broodmother is starting to do Broodmother things, but it's just these two like supports. It doesn't feel like there's any threat from the 2 supports on the side of DUC at the moment. When Sin5 decides to run at them, Rubik and Oracle's just not providing anything to be scary, if that makes sense. Oh, they're going on the A bottom? Are they going to catch things?
They thought about it, but I think they're respecting the fact that Sinister 5 are around, and obviously picking up the A, potentially losing Ursa, not going to be worthwhile. 4k advantage at the moment to Sinister 5, as they're starting to look a little bit more aggressive. They're positioning on the map. You can see here, Aghanim, he's on the front lines. We've got Schlinks behind him as well as Don't Die. So no ways that you commit these 3 if you're not looking for some sort of objective. But it might be just an objective kill Muffin Man. He has his own help though. He's going to get caught up by the LT. FSM goes in. He caught the Rupture though. They can turn this one around. They do. They do cast the Rupture onto Aghanim. He takes a lot of damage, but managed to get to the sidelines. Legend doesn't want to know where he is. He's going to throw the Crypt Swarm up, but it misses. Aghanim is still very low. Will they find him? He is just... This is the do-nothing strat. Is he just going to walk out of this? This is ridiculous. I think they've given up on him. They don't know where he is. And in the end, the literal do-nothing strat worked out. He ran the most obvious possible path. He burrowed in a little bit with... Oh, hold on. FS... Are you kidding me? FSMP gives them up, but it's too late. Aghanim's going to get out of this one for free. I love it. Guys, there you when we go to Dota, do nothing. Walk into the sideline.
Broodmother's behind them, bro. Oh, they know. They know. They just pinged him. Yeah. So there's a little... I think DUC should give them this tower. The Spider has webs all over their jungle. They can secure Roche here easily. Like, trade the tier 1 for the Roche. And you can Roche pretty quickly as well. But Muffin is still bottom. He's trying to get... He's close to his Diffusal Blade. But Castaway is setting up. Oh, he missed the spear. They know he's there.
They didn't have a vision, but they do ping out end and they will go onto him. He's on level 6. Oh, wow.
They need to get out of here.
He got absolutely sorry. FSM also in trouble. He's going to back off, but he is swarmed right now against telekinesis, but it will just be enough to delay his death as Muffin Man is actually caught out by the ults from this. They're going to buy back on the Oracle. They want to pick this fight. Castaway immediately tosses Muffin Man back into the Grove and Co. They're going to be able to
Oracle's not
control Legend, and Legend should be brought down here, and is Muffin Man, the next victim to fall. And this is on the back of a buyback, and he is doomed as well. He died here twice without being able to contribute anything. The fight just went totally out of control. I have no idea why DUC decided to fight that.
No, like they have control over the Dire jungle. They should literally just go to Roche. Get Roche on this Ursa. He's so close to the Diffusal Blade. He's 500 gold away from the Diffusal Blade, and they decide to take that fight. Oracle's not
fine as well, potentially in this bottom lane. He's going to get pinned up against 3 lines. Well, you're going to toss down the Blood Right as well, and in the end, they lose yet another hero without even sense. I don't understand why he went there, because they just lost. They lost 5 due to the buyback, and for whatever reason, I'm going to go stick around.
So that's kind of the thing with this Broodmother pick. Like your team has to be accustomed to it, and you have to know how to play around it. And like I kind of feel that like DUC might not have played this enough to kind of understand that Brood is going to take over this jungle. We've got an Ursa. Let's secure the Roche. And like we said, Techies changes the game of how you play Dota, so does Broodmother. But I think his team is now telling him that he needs to start joining these fights because he is the most farmed hero. But it's just not how they want to play Dota at the moment, especially not when your Oracle is not even level 6 yet. Like, he's not going to save anyone. So yeah, and Sin5 just itemizing perfectly. Castaway has got this early Vlad. AA's got Brown Boots and a Veil, so all their damage is amped. Whether it's Pier, Like Bloodseeker's like Rupture does more damage. Even though it's pure damage, it's spell amp, not magic amp. So Zeus's damage is amped, Earth Spirit is amped. They're looking pretty scary. And Zeus has got boots of travel. Like he's not even joining these engagements, but he can at any moment. Like he can make a decision. Oh, he's got a fairy trinket, man. Like what more would you want? Like fairy trinket on Zeus?
Well, this is the thing on top of this. I just want to point out, like, let's talk about Sin 5 for a moment. I mean, they have multiple players in the top. I looked at Castaway and Grove just this afternoon, and they're both sitting in like top 400. And
they caught Crimson bottom.
He's in a huge amount of trouble, and he's trying to run to the tree line, but of course they can see everything, and he's brought down pretty cheaply in the end. So as I was saying, you're talking about players. I mean, I actually want to go check quickly. I have Castaway.
They like top Castaway earlier this week was like 370. I think they've gone back down to 400. Him and Grove are both like immortal 400.
Yeah, so considering you're playing against players at this kind of quality, the problem is that for DUC, which I think are more kind of like at ancient level, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there. Like they've probably got a couple of divines and some ancients. The reality is that when you fall behind against players that are this experienced and this good, it is so hard trying to find any space on the map because they will not give you an opportunity to use any kind of position. They will literally hammer in the result. And honestly, I think DUC are...
Well, Legends?
Once again caught out by Castaway. He's doing so much damage. Cool guys don't look at explosion, turns his back immediately and gets back to farming. Because he wants to deny the ward and just beat up in. And he has effectively killed him. He's got to connect with that spear, but looks like he's going to have to wait a little bit longer. They're actually hunting him down. They're starting to play with their food at the moment as End does get caught out by Grove. And the FSM just has to watch his friends fall apart.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like this Oracle plus like Rubik. Like Rubik is a weird hero at the moment. He's probably gonna get buffed in the next patch, but he's a really weird hero. Like, look at Grove.
Just bounce. FSM, do you know where you are? Just literally being tossed around and should eventually be run down here. Gets with the telekinesis, so you let the opposite support player pick up the kill. But right now, it definitely looks like Sin 5 are very unlikely to lose this first game. I think take a look at the
Grove is on again.
Oh, how absurd. And they're going to toss back Legend as well. He had Rupture on top of him, so he gets brought down very, very quickly on top of it. So much damage coming out from it. Again, Sinister 5. The only real problem they have, I guess, is Crimson Tide has got a little brood that he's trying to go to work on this tier 2 tower, but they're not showing much respect to it. They're happy to stick on DUC's base. And they haven't even brought down their own tier 2 yet, but Crimson Tide, he's doing work. He should get this tier 2 top at the very least. Once again, they go in. Grove again tosses out FSM, and Castaway blinks in, gives him a God's Rebuke, and they find another kill. This is difficult because they can't even get in range to defend this tier 3 tower.
No threats. Like, this Earthspirit rolls in, and what is he scared of? A Rubik Lift. Or an Oracle Root. Like, that's it. Like, there's no threat. Like, by anything. There's no real big burst damage. Their profit can't just...
And he goes in again, and so deep. And this time around, he's going to toss in the Ursa. And look at this distance. It's Muffin Man just being bounced around in the arena. I think I'm confused where he was, because he's walking straight back into it manually. He will manage to survive, though. And they do keep their tier 3 up for the time being. Legend walks straight in, though. This is just falling apart. I'm not too sure what's going on, but...
Crimson has spiders at their base. They just need to hold the high ground.
Oh, the thing is, he's got to make sure that they actually stay out of range of the tower whilst it's got the split shot on. He doesn't have many left up here in the top lane. He's actually moved himself back to try help. They get the Rupture off as well onto FSM. He gets a little bit of help, but isn't enough. Aghanim in a bit of trouble. Can they finish the job? Not quite. Aghanim will be able to run this one off. Just that speed available for him. Crimson Tide now trying to help his team defend, but this is all you want to play as Brood Mother. You definitely don't want to be defending a tier 3 tower at 20 minutes as the Brood player. That's your job. You're on the wrong side of the map. Grove, this time, he should get punished for his aggression. Surely there's 3 little turrets hitting him. Grove, are you dead? Finally is brought down, and there was the Brood there as well. So they'll find 2 now as they bring down Castaway. Aghanim, he's running forward. This time, Legend does have his number, but he does manage to speed it away, as they should at the very least bring down Schlinks. So they're going to keep themselves alive a little while longer. And that is, I mean, it's obviously important, but that's actually quite a good fight for them. The problem is, however, that they had to, I think there was a buyback there on on Legend or someone? Am I going crazy? Was there buyback? Am I lying to you? I might be lying to you. But they go straight into the Roche pit one way or another. They have a phenomenal Roaching lineup as well. All those little spiderlings. Of course, Muffin Man is going to build up the Fury Swipes and have no problem bringing down Roche on. And I really appreciate the fact that they didn't waste a second. Very good call here from DUC.
Yeah, they just needed to do this way earlier. They needed to kind of like just push the map with this Brood Mother in the top lane, and then Ursa had the space to roast because the Brood is kind of a shield. But they just got baited into these fights like right before crucial items, and now it's gotten out of hand. Like Grove on this Earthspur doesn't care at all about rolling in. Like there's no kill threat. Like he died there by I think on the 4th time he rolled in. Oh, he's on the Ursa.
Again, trying to get behind him. But Legend actually will catch him up, but they don't want any part of this. Bear in mind, this is absurd, right? Look at Grove's level at the moment. Level 14. At his item. But at the same time, if you look at the item level on the opposing mid, he's only 13. I mean, Grove has had just such enormous impact, and I think this is he just doesn't like boots, right? Like he's allergic to them or something. I feel like whenever I see a player not going boots, it's good old Grovey Frank.
So this Earth Spirit build he's done quite a few times. He doesn't really pick up boots on the hero. Does he have the shard? No, he doesn't have the shard yet. He's going BKB next. I would like to see if he picks up the shard first because the remnants then provide vision, but the main thing is it gives you an extra 4 stones. He is playing so aggressive. He is the main form of initiation, and an additional 4 stones is just going to allow him to keep doing that. Oh, he's rolling bottom for a ward. Or Legend. Oh,
Legend
they caught him.
Is caught out here. He immediately TPs. Don't want any part of this. He actually cancelled it, so realizes he's safe for the time being. But this position from Sinister 5 is really important. They're just taking over the map. I mean, there's a couple of spiderlings trying to push out top, but they're actually going to likely fall down to this creep wave or the next one. And at the very least, it's going to prevent a huge amount of pressure. But hold on. They do catch Aghanim. He wants to get down the Rupture and will. The damage is there. It's available, and Aghanim should be brought down, and it is. Legend still trying to use this ulti, though. He's actually walking 40 on the Rupture. Doesn't care. Wants some damage. He'll heal up. No problem.
That's a big kill. Like, it opens the map for him. DP ulti was used, though. So once this wears off, Sin 5 is probably going to decide to run straight back at them. Bloodseeker would have spawned. It's 2 minutes with no Death Prophet ulti, but they're hunting with it. Yeah, they're looking for kills. But they see the ghosts. Even though you smoke, the ghosts still show. The outpost is actually giving him away. That's extremely sad. Like, shouldn't the ghost be smoked as well?
I feel like it. But unfortunately, I mean, they have an amazing push. I mean, you mentioned it during the draft or leading into the game, like how good their push is. But between the DP as well as the Spider, Brood Mother, there's an enormous amount of push potential. So when they do get ahead, they actually get a lot of value out of it. But once again, looking at the graph, the win probability at the moment, it hasn't been great for a really long time. 2% to 98. I actually don't think it's quite as bad because I do think that if Sin 5 make a big mistake, they can really be punished with this kind of lineup.
Costaway almost caught him.
Oh, hold on. They also, he is able to be controlled, but the damage down to Muffin Man. He's going to fall here most likely, and does. That's their Aegis down. They don't have much to fight this, but they need to do something with it. Do they manage to get him away? No. No Blink Dagger, no chance. And man, that Ursa died so fast. That's an Ursa that gets destroyed that quickly. And FSM is being run down. Inevitable death coming up as he gets tagged by Aghanim, and Dota and Die will finish off with the top bolt. And now they will finally get onto those racks in the mid lane. Unfortunately, options available to the DUC at the moment.
FSM is stealing Rupture almost every time it's used, and it's really nice, but I kind of feel that he has to steal one of the Marza spells. He has to either get Arena or the Spear. The Spear on Rubik is so good because the cast range is ridiculous. They need disables and tools to fight with. Like he's taking Rupture and he's using it, but it's not having a effect. They need some team fight control, some stuns. Because at the moment, their only stun is Oracle Root or Rubik Lift.
Please look at Grove.
Yeah, like he's waiting for someone to show. He's gonna. Does he have a ward on him? Yes, he does.
It's a sentry, but I think he'll get enough vision just from a push, right? Like
he just bought it. No, he just bought the obs. He's got it. He's gonna put it down. He's gonna put a sentry right in the base.
So if our dear observer would be so kind as to F2 on the keyboard.
you can see the difference between the F2 button and the F3 button right now is that it is dark out there for DUC, and the difference is extreme because when you look at the other side of the map, it almost looks like you're watching in the regular mode where you can see everything. They can see everything that's going on. He is just going to pick his target, and the target's going to be FSM. Sorry, it's Legend, I lie! They got an even bigger, tastier treat, and he will manage to get off the self-fuels, but it's going to buy him a little bit of time for Castaway to join in on the fun and pick up the kill. Beautiful bit of awareness there, beautiful bit of play from Grove. Manages to find a nice kill. Now Aghanim can start working his way onto the tier 3 tower. And once you just hear that rolling boulder, and you know that he's up to absolutely no good. They get the telekinesis off and a lot of damage onto Aghanim. They're drop down the LT from Zeus as well. And in comes Grove, and he gets another big tasty target. It just destroyed. That was an Ursa. That wasn't a support. That was an Ursa. And out he goes. Totally okay. They pop the BKB on the Broodmother. So now this is a significant bit of use they've had to commit here, and they've got very little out of the deal. However, their Max do stand in the bottom lane for the time being.
DP popped ulti, they instantly just backed away. Good discipline by Sin 5. They know they're ahead and they know what they need to do. Don't fight into this Death Prophet ulti. It is still only a level 2 ulti at the moment. But Death Prophet, Weird Hero,
hold on.
Grove is back in again.
Grove again, but it didn't quite work out the way he wanted to, but it doesn't matter. I don't think he managed to get the knockback he wanted, but in the end they're going to find 2 tasty kills. Crimson Tide should go down next. They're just waiting it out. Castaway, he'll accept with God's Rebuke. And that should be a battle later. They're going to have a couple of heroes coming up. So they've got both the Ursa and FSM's Rubik up again. But very little they can do about this. At the moment, Grove is...
Look at the difference between like the support lineups. Like what Grove can do on this Earth Spirit compared to this Rubik Oracle like combination. He by himself is starting these fights. And there's nothing they can do about it. Sin 5 does... DUC doesn't have anyone to do kind of the same thing. Ursa is not strong enough just to run at them. Death Prophet's just getting melted every fight because of this AA pick. Yeah, it's really weird for them at the moment. Look at Grove.
Oh, get the telekinesis off, but they're not going to be able to threat him too much. And FSM, are you so sure about this? In comes Castaway, bail him up. The Blood Rider's down. Might be enough to kill FSM Anders. Back where you came from, he says, and he goes straight back. And he actually might not have been the best decision. Tries to get out and he's brought down. Nothing, man, he's going to bring out Castaway as well. Actually has a Ghost Scepter on him, so he survives a little longer and manages to blink. I'm not too sure. Oh, it was Ethereal Blade that came out from the Zeus. Crimson Tide wants to punish Dota and die for it. He gets tossed up in the air, but didn't manage to get the first tag.
Well, Bloodseeker's got shot.
Back off, though, because he's going to have to deal with Aghanim, who is on the throne. Drops the Blood Rider as well. Crimson Tide will just avoid, but he will catch a God's Rebuke regardless. And DUC Legend trying to make sure he can keep this team alive a little while longer. But the reality is this game is all but decided. Since the 5, they just have to take what is rightfully theirs, and what is rightfully theirs right now is the Radiance Ancient. Legend's still trying to probe, trying to keep things alive a little while longer, but this is troublesome. And once again, Castaway gonna knock up Legend up against his very own podium, as they do manage to turn the one around and pick up the kill themselves. But look at this Bloodseeker. Just casual.
BKB, SNY, Maelstrom, and he's got the shard, which gives him passive lifesteal. So, oh wait, Zeus is going down? They're keeping the throne alive?
I mean, look, you've got to hand it to Legend and friends for holding in there. I like to see teams really play it out, but
hey. So, I've won games that were worse off than this, like by keeping that throne alive.
21k? I mean, how many of those? Because I agree with you.
The heroes scale better. Like it's gonna be hard, but if they can like even 21k at 50 minutes, I think DUC has the advantage. They scale way better.
Well,
they don't have anything
Aghanim
to stop
is
this
man fighting up against everyone at the moment. Is he gonna win this? He's just fighting through. The A-Blast is coming in as well! They're gonna bring down one. This man is all alone here! Finally gets the support, but it's only for show because Aghanim does have to back off.
Oh, he kicks him out!
Finally gets on the retreat because he was bailed out by the Earth Spirit, and he will try to get out himself, but he gets blocked by Crimson Tide, who now is potentially in trouble. So this time they evade the Earth Spirit, who manages to toss away the spider, and the man who stood all Aghanim will finish the job. FSM, he's scooting away, but he is in so much trouble. We'll get the telekinesis back, but Aghanim just needs a couple of love taps, and they'll finish the job. In comes the Earth Spirit, and he'll finish the job as well. So again, Sinister 5 pick up the kills they need. I want to say, this is actually, I think, a first for me, is that this game has flatlined at 100% win probability. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
is under attack.
It is.
No chance at all.
It
Like
is
when the
literally-
ancient's being hit at 5 HP.
Look, it's flatlined a while ago. Even Valve decided, look, this one's decided. Ooh, Sinister 5, they
Yeah, so they look
They
good.
look easy.
Like they look very good, but I also think there was a bit of sloppy play from DUC. I think it's maybe a bit of jitters, a bit of nerves. The game one. Hopefully that's done with the first game, and they look better in the second one. But there were so many crucial things, like the Spider could have just taken control of the jungle. They had a Ursa to Roche on the back of it. Like Ursa, that bot fight was 400 gold away from Diffusal Blade, on par with the levels of Sin 5, and they decided to take the fight. Legend diving, I think, 2 or 3 times with the Death Prophet ulti out, trying to get the most out of it. And Sin 5 was just ready for it. We spoke about it pre-game. Like, the moment he gets 6, he likes to play aggressive with the heroes. And if you bring more bodies, his supports are not going to rotate if it's a Rubik plus Oracle.
yeah.
And he just died, I think, 2-3 times in a row because of it. Good rotations by Sin 5. Great, like, coordination. And DUC just needs to play a little bit more composed. And I think we're going to have a big series here.
Yeah, honestly, I think DUC, they can't allow a team like Sinister 5 to get ahead though, because once again, I'm just looking over all these Immortal players and how high these ranks are. I mean, they have multiple players in the top 1000, they have players in the top 400, like, these are incredibly capable human beings. And the reality is that if you are a team that's playing more, I guess, on less on individual skill and more on, you know, the how the team functions, you can't allow a side like Sinister 5 to get this far ahead. With that said, I do think we could see a good second game here. I think it's still possible for the side of DUC to pull one back. They've done it before. They are one of those Achilles heel sides for Sinister 5. But a tough ask, especially after that performance. We're going to take a very quick break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be coming back with Game 2 shortly. Sinister 5 versus DUC here at EGL One. See you in a minute. All right, welcome back, everyone. I, for one, welcome our Russian friends to the broadcast. Okay, but seriously, actually, I welcome our Russian friends to broadcast. I realize that you guys may have ulterior motives at points for why you're watching, but why don't you enjoy the show all the same? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown quickly for what you're watching exactly. So EGL One, obviously the South African tournament, we have some of the best South African teams. I know to a lot of you that may seem a little bit odd, maybe not too familiar with the scene, but actually a lot of these guys are very good. They play on European servers for the most part, so when you hear us talking about ranks, etc., these are the same ranks that you'd be accustomed to playing on, like EU West, for example. Sinister 5 are effectively a team made up of top 500 players, more top 500 on Europe West. And DUC is I would say, a local team that is kind of known for taking down sides that they shouldn't because they've been playing together for such a long time. They're very strong as leadership. And although they are more playing, I'd say, at probably like Ancient Divine level, they've actually beaten sides like Sinister 5 in the past. So definitely a team to look out for. But certainly your favorites going into this are Sinister 5. They are probably like 95% favorites because they would consider themselves to be the best in the country, although there's another team out there that definitely has a say in that at the moment. notAhero, was that fair description of the teams and where they stand?
Yeah,
95,
yeah,
I think 95.5 might be a little bit harsh, but it's not terribly harsh, right? It's Sinister 5's credit, not against DUC.
No. I do think the UC has they can pull this out. They just need to be a little bit more calm. I think they had the draft advantage in that game, but they just didn't execute towards their strength. They didn't play towards their item timings, and when the Broodmother was forced to leave that jungle space and start helping his team defend their tier 1s on the bottom lane, was kind of where everything fell apart. So they just reevaluate how they're going to play this game. You see Sins 5 has taken out the AA because they don't have first pick, so obviously valuing the hero. Interesting to see if DUC is going to decide then to go back to the Death Prophet, because I do think that AA pick just completely destroyed him. But the supports on Sin 5 was also overleveled. Like, they were just getting away with way too much in the lanes, because DUC effectively lost both their side lanes and the mid lane kind of traded even. Oh no, not even, because Legend dived twice and died both times. So they effectively won all 3 lanes. So DUC opting not to go for the Death Prophet straight away. There's a Rubik, Sun 5 picking it up. That's interesting. Rubik Magnus.
Really quick picks as well. They knew exactly what they wanted to go for there. Before you continue, so I must interrupt you, because of course it is that time of the night again. Time to enjoy a sip of coffee, good draft, and of course some free stuff. So as I mentioned when we went into this, we're giving away a 250 Rand Steam voucher, and here's your time to write into the YouTube channel. Once again, you can find the YouTube channel by simply going and searching for Evesports on YouTube if you're watching a game. For those of you already here, type EGL One just once into the chat and you can stand a chance to win a...
Just once.
Just once. A 250 Rand Steam voucher tonight. Obviously, on other evenings, we give some really cool shirts away, for example. So, yeah, come join us and get some free stuff. But anyways, notAhero. Now that that's out the way, you were saying.
Yeah, so DUC, like, are up for this line pick, first of all. Like, the hero has been very popular in the meta, and then they go back for this Death Prophet. Obviously, Legend is very comfortable in it, and they do feel that probably the AA was the problem in that first game. So, interesting to see how he's going to respond or how Sin 5 is going to respond to this Death Prophet pick being picked up immediately. They take out the Zeus. I guess they feel that also, like, Death Prophet couldn't bully him as much. Juggernaut and Phantom Assassin taken out. Interesting bans. And then Oracle, Viper, and Lifestealer taken out. Does that mean a strength hero with, like, needs break? Like safe lane Bristleback, maybe? Offlane Bristleback? Is this a mid Magnus? I don't know what Dota is currently playing. Like, that's kind of like him coming into this team. He just popped out a Zeus. We know it's one of his heroes. He even played in the offlane back in the day. But what is his hero pool middle at the moment? Like, I've got no idea. Like, so how do you just like ignore it and like ban the other heroes of the team, or like what are you going with? But Phantom Assassin, Jug, okay, they're just banning out Magnus heroes. That's kind of the thing. Jug benefiting from the Empower, so does Phantom Assassin. I don't know, like Magnus, PA. I guess it's okay. It's strong. Like Phantom Assassin actually has an like absurd win rate with Magnus.
Mag, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what they go for though. Yeah, because like what the next kind of who's next on the chopping block? I mean, when you think about heroes that go well with, actually I'm kind of curious about because
Troll
Ursa
Warlord.
actually doesn't suck.
PL, like it's an Aghanim staple, and he does benefit from the empower, obviously as the illusions, but like it will accelerate his farm. But this is a core Magnus, and it's nice when you empower your carry, but I hate when core Magnuses are forced to follow around their pos one to empower him. Oh, they go for the Spectre. Big CDs on the side of
Terribly. And that was very preemptive. They didn't waste any time with the TB pick. They were just we're doing this. I
Black
guess
TV got a very high win rate at the moment. Like at the last major, it had a 70% win rate, and it was one of the most picked carries. So the hero is extremely strong.
10
Dragon Knight's still
seconds
untouched
remaining.
throughout the draft, which I find absurd. I don't know why people are not picking this hero.
5
Same with
seconds
Templar
remaining.
Assassin. I think TA, Terrorblade, Dragon Knight, those are heroes that are looking extremely good. DUC they can respond to this TB pick with like a Kunkka off lane. We've seen Virtus Pro do it into the Terrorblade lane, and DM does it pretty well for Virtus Pro, and they don't really have combos with the shard. He tends to like buy shard off the bat and then Grim. I guess Spectre is decent against Clock because you can always get out of the cogs, and then but they don't really have a
one of those
Grim
weird
stroke.
interactions. Like we
Yeah,
kind of does
they
a
don't have a
little.
yeah, they don't have a good like Grimstroke partner. Like they don't really have big single target spells apart from Lion for the double. I guess Siphon works or Dagger works, but it's not like big bursts. And they also don't really have an Inkswell target at the moment. I guess you can pop it onto Spectre and then you can jump this Rubik. But
Well, that is actually
Entire
huge, right? I
team
guess it's
back.
technically early on if they're laning together. He hits 6, gets Inkswell popped on him, and then goes to another lane. That's definitely some.
tries to get a kill.
Yeah, that could be a cheeky little move, and especially if he's going to the lane with the line, he offers some disable on top of that. So it'll almost set up the line to get a really good impale off.
Spectres are going this Echo Saber build currently,
Yeah.
though, but I think if he does go that Echo Saber build, yeah, this Terrorblade just completely outfarms him. At no stage in the game, he's going to feel good about fighting into this Terrorblade.
It's also kind of hard because I feel like the only hero he can kill as Spectre early on is probably the Rubik.
Yeah, and Rubik does have a defensive spell with the lift as well, so it's not like you're gonna insta kill him. So it's a bit strange, I guess. With Grimstrike with the Inkswell, it's a different story. You lift him, you still get stunned by the Inkswell. But DUC this time has better deep push, and they have more threats on the map. So like once Lion has finger, like him doing a hex into a stun. There's no like what is he gonna hunt with?
5 seconds
Um,
remaining.
Legion Commander into the TB, that's pretty good. Anytime you catch the TB, you can't sunder because you duel him. It's good against the illusions as wave clear, and we know Crimson Tide likes the hero. So they can do Legion. I actually like Timbersaw here a lot. It can lane against the TB. So I think Legion Timber
Radiant
or
team pick.
Kunkka. Doom. Double Doom. That's a combo there. Okay. I guess they wanted something to go with this Grimstroke. Doom is really good at the moment. We saw T1 run it the entire tournament and it looked completely broken in the offlane. He goes hand with Midas and he's just top net with the entire game.
10 seconds
And they go
remaining.
like Ag's Refresher to make the Doom last longer. And then you just take 2
5
targets out of this game.
seconds
And with the Grimstrike, you can maybe even take out 3. So I think we're going to see like a phase boots, Midas, Blink Dagger, like Ags on the Doom. And then he's the tempo setter, so he can hunt with this line.
I must say that to me, Doom with Grimstrike, it always feels like one of those things that it works in like it's really cool in theory, but does it actually ever pay off? Because the thing is, if you think about Doom, you want to jump. Okay, let's say you want to jump Terrorblade, right? Like an amazing target, right? You don't often get the opportunity to have both End in this case and Crimson Tide to be in position to actually connect with that. So although theoretically possible, it's such a hard ask, and I don't necessarily know if it's worth being in a situation where you get a double Doom off if it happens to be on, say, like a Castaway Magnus that's already used all of the skills and a.
So it
Clockwork,
turns
you
the
know what I
fight
mean?
into a 3v5 just by getting that Doom off, and Doom score still does damage. Like the Infernal Blade still does damage, and I don't think you want to be dooming Terrorblade this game. If he's already pop meta, you don't really want to doom him because he's just gonna stand and hit you anyway. So Magnus or Shadow Fiend is probably his doom targets, But I do think if you can get a double Doom off, regardless of what target is on, even if it's like on the Clockwork and the Rubik, you do it regardless, because then you only have to worry about RP and Shadow Fiend ulti. But you've got silencers, you've got hexes, your spec they can choose when coming into the fights. I do favor Sun 5's drafts here. I think they've got strong tower push. I think they've got team fight with the RP, Clockwork and setup as well. But Schlinks is playing the Clockwork here, not Grove. So that's a POS 4 Rubik and a POS 5 Clockwork, which is very interesting. Like the way Grove played the last game, I think I assume this is a Clockwork for him.
Actually, I don't like the fact that he's got that kind of level on Rubik.
Oh.
He's level 26, right? So it sounds like it's one of those.
It's not 30 yet.
Yeah, but it sounds like he's been grinding it a little bit or something, and that bothers me. Okay, that next thing we know, we have another filthy Grove hero that we need to ban out. Anyways, of course,
giving him cogs. Okay, but he didn't. Like, I don't think this is a thing anymore. When you give Shadow Fiend souls with the cogs, because you have to take Shadow Rays for the early lane to secure your range creep. If you lose that first 2 levels or the first 2 range creeps in the mid lane, it's really hard for your hero to actually lane there. Okay, Doom, Lion Lane, like 2 heroes that are from hell and back to hell and back to hell and back again. But Legend needs to have a better game on the Death Prophet this game. We know he's capable on the hero, but the moment he's 6, he can't just dive this Shadow Fiend. Schlinks will rotate in, and Frank will rotate in. These are smart Dota players. If he wants to make that rotation, he needs to have the Lion. He needs to have the Lion and the Grimstrike there to back him up. So they need to just like communicate that and create the space indirectly with the Death Prophet ulti, force heroes to that lane, and that'll open the game for this Doom and Spectre on the sidelines. I am concerned about this Terrorblade. I think he's.
I want to just pick your brain for a second. Sorry to interrupt, but like I need to know this. So DUC obviously they got pretty much slaughtered in the last game, right? Okay, I might have to hold a thought. Just want to see if they do tussle. Looks like they're gonna get a little bit of damage on Schlinks, but I don't think they're gonna commit to that. You could obviously just pick up cogs if they do and bounce them around, but it does mean that they'll go 3-1 for Blind Heroes. What I want to ask, I mean, obviously for those of you who are unfamiliar, not here, you obviously have been in the SO scene for a very long time. You've played on, you know, big stages and pretty much the really high profile events. You've been on Super Sports and international television, etc. Like you've done these things, right? And I'm sure at some point you've also been on the back of a game like this where you've just been given a hiding and you still have a game to go. Like what happens here? Do you just try to shrug it off? Do you kind of give do you give it like no thought and just move on? What is the best way to deal with this kind of position when you're in high stakes environments?
So the thing is, like, it's just kind of to keep your team like the headspace right, because after like a thumping that they got in the first game, having people's mindsets in a positive way is sometimes really hard. If you have a mentally strong team, it's way easier, but a lot of times like a thumping like that it's really hard to come back from. But also, if you had to ask DUC before this game, who they do they think they're going to win the series, they would have probably said no, we're just going to play Dota, it's Sun 5. So if they carried over that mindset into this game, I think it's going to go really well for them, because that means you're kind of playing with a nothing to lose attitude, and that makes you way stronger, because like, let's just have some fun. So that's why we play this game at the end of the day, but losing sucks.
You know, I think that's the most honest saying. Like, yeah, you know, we play it to have fun, but losing sucks. Alright, come to the side, bottom lane actually takes so much damage. They can see just a little bit of extra work being put by the reflection. And Crimson side, obviously, Doom, not known for his armor in the early stages, definitely doesn't help. That
so they did buff his armor. They buffed his armor quite a bit because they took the regen away from the Devour. So he doesn't have passive regen from Devour anymore, but he does have 4 base armor. He did start with Ring of Protection, so he's got a total of 6 armor, which is really nice.
Mid lane. Isn't I going down here? There's a Crypt Storm available. It's not quite enough damage, and the rotation does come in from the Rubik. It's going to be just a bit of a bait and switch. He's not actually there to rotate, but just to make sure that if that engagement recommences, that he's going to have to deal with the Rubik as well. But Legend actually get a nice little lead there early on over Dota and Die. Again, I think this is one of those matchups he's going to be very comfortable with. I mean, how many times has this man played the Death Prophet up against a Shadow Fiend mid?
Yeah. So I do think this one is actually Def Profit favored because you've got the natural sustain from the Siphon and you've also got a nuke that you can spam quite frequently. But for me, the big thing here is this Spectre is struggling. Like 5 CS compared to the 16 of the Magnus. Castaway and Grove is completely like crushing this top lane. He's got 1 level of empower, like he's still level 2, so they threaten this lane is not insane, but your Spectre unfortunately is the one tanking these hits because Grimstroke wants to play behind him, but they're doing extremely well. Like Crimson Tide as well, okay, but he's farming quite a bit of neutrals. So his CS is inflated, but he's farming quite a bit of.
I just want to say this is so hard for Muffin Man because he literally is having to deal with a Magnus that is hitting for twice as much damage. So that is incredibly hard to farm. But bottom lane, FSM gonna get out the Impel, but is in a little bit of trouble. He's being run down by Schlinks. The move speed will be in FSM's favor because he has the brown boots, but at the very least they do get some damage on. Crimson Tide is going to have to settle for just a couple of love taps of his own, try equalize the damage, but obviously most importantly for Duck is they're having a better start. At this point in the game they're already dropping a lot of lives early on, and although I do agree that the spec is a massive concern for them right now, he needs some space. This is still something that you can recover from. Once again, they do have the Grimstroke spec lane, which means you can get the cheeky little Ink Swell into the rotation, and that obviously makes him a much greater threat, even if he doesn't have as good a start. Engagement is there though. I guess I just cursed them because Grimstroke will be the first death in this game. First blood goes the way of Castaway. In fact, I think this is how it opened up last time as well. Didn't Castaway kill in to open things up last game? I feel like that's how we started off, so it's the sign of things to come.
Yeah, with the no, I think it was actually the Ursa after that career kill, and then it was End or the
yeah, it was the support. Yeah, it was the support ended up dying, so it was.
So Crimson just keeps pulling this bottom lane, and I really like this a lot. It means he doesn't have to lane into this Terrorblade that's skilled Reflection. He took a level of Reflection level 1. He's out of mana currently, but he can just pull this creep wave, farm jungle, farm the creep camp. Schlink's actually pulled it into the camp here with the rocket, but Crimson's having a pretty decent game. He's matching the CS on the Magnus, and obviously he's got the Devour bonus on his side. So this Doom is definitely going to be a big factor in Duck's mid-game period.
Yeah.
This Def Profit is quite a bit ahead of the Shadow Fiend, about 600 gold.
Crimson action trouble. Caught up by the reflection as well. Gonna pop the Metamorphosis, and the body blocks are beautiful for Schlinks. No way out of it. So once again, it's your turn to curse somebody, but FSM might be yet another victim. He will get to tower range, and he does get Impale, but probably on the wrong target. If he wanted to live, he had to stun Aghanim, but
I think he just carried on running. I think if he carried on running, he would have survived. It was the turn for the stun that killed him. But Legend now, look at middle. He started. This is the thing now. He's poking at Dota and Die over and over. He's trying to get his HP down, so he's in range for a kill threat, and he's gonna pop the exorcism as soon as he feels he can kill him. But his supports is not rotating him to help him for this.
Bottom lane, sorry, they actually re-engage here onto Aghanim, and they're doing a lot of damage here. He also loses his Metamorphosis, so a little less tanky, a little easier to bring down, and they'll do just that. So, nice return kill from DUC, a very important one, and just evening up that lane a little bit more as well.
Yeah, isolating that Schlinks left the lane instantly, and the Terrorblade was alone, so Aghanim goes down to the Lion plus Doom combo. So, very nice return kill, because Terrorblade did get 2 kills in that last engagement, so his net worth was a bit inflated. Nice little gold there for the Doom. How much did he get for that? 222. So not too bad at all. And Spec is still struggling though. 17 CS. I think he's got almost the same amount as the Grimstroke.
This is troublesome. They're not letting him get off easy either. They do get a nice little bit of a stroke of fate to slow things down, but you can see the intention from Sinister 5 is just to keep punishing him. They want to just stick on to Muffin Man. Make sure he's got. Oh, hold on. What is this? What is? Oh, you just missed it. FSM was looking to snipe the courier. Pretty handy courier that had a belt of strength, but they want to try to get on top of Dota and Die. So they're bringing the rotation, but they haven't been able. Oh no, I don't know about this one. They popped the ulti a little bit early. They managed to kill the courier, and it did have a belt of strength. So it's gonna delay it a little bit, but now they really need to make this work because that is a big investment. Schlinks does come around mid. He doesn't have hook shot or anything just yet. So
FSM needs to stay here. He can't TP out.
Well.
Oh, he's trying to save a Spectre.
Legend is going to run down Schlinks. We'll keep an eye on this where he does a lot of damage. Schlinks should be able to finish the job. Is it there? Yes, it is. Just shy. of that experience he wanted, but in the end, he
Spectre
does
goes
bring him down, and End will get a pick onto the Rubik as well. Castaway is still trying to run down End. They brought in FSM, as you mentioned, and he's got level 6 up now as well. He's also, he wants to go in, and he finds FSM. He jukes the reverse polarity, and that means that...
No, that's the end of that. But yeah, Castaway having a free game here. Like, his net worth is... Like, he's getting the kills, he's getting the last hits. He's above the Doom on net worth at the moment. 3,900, approaching 4,000 after the Creep Wave. And look at his build. Like, he's going for the Hood of Defiance first item. Because his main threat is going to be... The Hood? Yeah, I guess Lion plus Grimstroke combos. Or RP?
Sorry, RP on 2. It connects beautifully. They did bring in the support though, so it means that FSM should survive. And there's that Inkswell on top of Buffin Man. They can get a huge kill here potentially. The silence comes up, but they do get the support in the backlines from the Rubik. Good
Legend takes
through, and a beautiful bit of work there. So, I mean, I think
So
that's
that
really
is a kill
important for them to
secure.
get the kill.
That is a kill secure, but I do feel you try and give that to your Spectre. I was only 220 gold, but this Spec is having a struggle over time. I guess you run the risk of not killing him if the Spectre tries to take it, because he's only got a chainmail. That's it. Like, he's got chainmail. He's going for this blade mail build, which is the right choice. He needs to be able to farm faster, so blade mail with the max dispersion means you can farm ancients. So that's definitely the right call by him. I don't think if he goes Echo Saber, like, you'll ever be fight ready in this game. At least with the blade mail, you can counter some of the damage.
My bottom lane, they're going to re-engage you onto Schlinks. They commit a lot to even the
Doom.
Doom. I don't know about this one. Sure, you bring down Schlinks. I mean, his death is a certainty now. He even agrees. He's just trying to farm a creep next to them. But that's a very big cooldown. 135 seconds remain, and I mean that's I don't know. That's like your Terrorblade not having to worry about it. Your Magnus not have to worry about it. No opportunity to link up with a Grimstroke. You should be 6 any moment now.
I don't think that's the end of the world. He's got Face Boost Drums on the courier, so this Doom kind of shows his intent. His next little, I think these 2 minutes is kind of his farming stint. He needs the Blink Dagger after the drums. I'm very surprised he didn't go Midas.
Where's the LT going? Are they wanting to go into Dota and die? Yeah, oh, he's winding up the LT, and this time they do connect beautifully onto Legend. Legend actually turns himself around here because he got the LT up, he's got the Siphon out as well, but he's got a tension coming in from Schlinks, and he might just be brought down here instead. That Array's not available just yet, but he gets the kill! Gets him anyways. I think they were trying to buy a little time for the SF to build up the mana pool to hit a long-range Shadow Rays. But he gets called out instead, so a little bit of greed there. And I guess, you know, almost to put that, you know, exclamation point on what you were saying a moment ago, is that if you do kind of leave those kills for your cause, sometimes it backfires. And there's a very good example of exactly that. Because that is a significant thing for Legend. He actually got the kill first, I think, as well. So, no, who got the kill first?
I would like
actually Schlinks who got the kill first, so although Legend got the cross kill, he didn't get the experience.
Legend is playing this very well, and I like these aggression rotations he's doing, and he's
coming in straight back again, but they get the hook shot coming from Schlinks. They need to turn this one around. They get a lot of damage onto the SF, but they haven't been able to finish the job. In fact, it's going to be Schlinks who finds the first kill, and they get the skewer RP off as well, which means they're going to find 2, make that 3, because the telekinesis is there onto End, and End gets brought down by Fateball. So they lose 3 mid in a fight that they picked. Stop cursing them, notAhero. You're just saying how much you like the way they play with the aggression, and unfortunately that aggression was punished that time around.
Yeah, but what I kind of wanted to elaborate on is, like, I like that first aggression that they did, but he brings one support with him with that rotation, and he kills the Shadow Fiend way before he gets that deep into his triangle. Like, he keeps going for these kills by himself instead of just bringing the Lion with him, and I think if he does do that, like, those kills end up much safer, and then they take a fight without Exorcism, and they just get 3-man wipe. So once he has this ulti up, the supports need to be rotating with him. And oh, what, Spectre?
Yeah,
he's in trouble. He's a level behind Schlinks.
This is very unfortunate. He's caught up by the hook shot as well. And Schlinks waited that out. He was never missing it. He was not lining up. He was just waiting because he realizes the moment that dagger line ran out, he could make sure that this wouldn't kill.
Look at Schlinks' courier. Why is it chilling in the river? There's an urn and wards on it. Kill it, Sinfa. Kill it. Yeah, he's got it.
He picks it up. He's just, I don't know. It was a scout. It was trying to bait somebody into it. But alright, let's see what happens here. Schlinks in a very aggressive position again. I'm gonna just
Legend has DP
fairly
ulti at the
decent.
moment, but he is starting to lose levels because of those 2 deaths in a row. They need to not just watch out that they don't fall into that same pattern. They are rotating to this Dota and die top lane. Does he have anything to get out of this?
Well, I
Nice.
thought he just knew, but here's
He's
the
in
thing:
trouble.
he didn't see the rotation soon enough, and he's gonna get caught up on the dagger. He winds up the LT. They did give the impale, but it sends everyone back. Don't die. Now into the tree line. Can he stay alive? They're gonna bolt up FSM, but they don't get the connection they need. In fact, they will finally get the ulti.
Why did Grimstroke ulti him?
I don't know why Grimstroke ultied him. That was. You know, he just anything, kitchen sink. Just if you got it, throw it. That's what they decide to do there. But a little bit questionable, admittedly. They do get up for a decent kill. Got to be said that DUC look like they're, I guess, a little bit nervy. That's probably the best thing to.
Yeah, like that is definitely nerves. Like there's no reason you dropped the Grimstroke ulti there. Maybe you wanted to ink swell the target and it was a misclick, but definitely not. Because now you don't have. You've got Doom. How long till Doom? They've got Doom up. They could have had double Doom now, and you just like dropped the Grimstroke ulti on a Shadow Fiend that was 100% already dead. So just need to compose themselves a little bit. Like they are in this game. They've got a Doom. They've got a Death Prophet. They've got a Spectre. Spectre's just so far behind. He's he's almost 1,000 gold behind the Rubik.
You can see by the build as well that he's going for. He's going for a Blade Maid build, which means he is just anything to contribute, anything to become relevant. But right now, he's obviously it's for the farming. He wants to just get a little bit of extra farm, deal that extra damage to the Ancients potentially. But it's a bit of a desperation move at this point, right? Like it's not
it's really rough. The thing is, they do have Death Prophet Doom, and just with ultimates up, they can take fights. So the Spectre will have space, and he can also choose when to come into the fights. So if he plays the smart and he chooses the reg fights to join with his ulti, then he will scale back into this game, and it is a Spectre. So more items he gets, the stronger he's going to become. But TB top net with at the moment. Dragon Lance, yeah, treads HellBird over just the Blade Mail and Spec. Terrorblade is more than double his net worth.
He's actually got high net worth than the Doom, which is also pretty scary. But okay, smoke comes out here from Sinister 5. They invade into... Oh, they actually catch a massive RP onto the just the 2. But in comes the LT from the Grimstroke. Can they turn this one around? The double Doom is off. Maybe they can make this happen.
Double line finger
around. The double finger's there as well. DUC, they lose 2 as well of their cores, but they made it look good at the very least. Nothing, man, just couldn't contribute. Not enough in it. So even though they bring down the mag and the Rubik, in the end there's just not enough there for the fight. They got everything. They got all the ultis of they wanted to on that soul bind.
As well. Oh, if DP didn't pop his ulti there, I think if he respawned now they could have fought. But obviously, like when the double Doom, double finger went off, it looked really good for them. But he just got blown up. Who killed the Death Prophet? It was Aghanim. Yeah, he's hitting way too hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just. The fight was pretty clumsy, but the reality is that Terrorblade is just doing so much work. In they go again.
Oh, then.
DUC have done this before, where they pick these fights where I don't know if it's worthwhile. Aghanim, he's keen.
Sleeping out.
Sleeping his friends. They don't have a huge amount of backup right now. In comes the Shockwave, and in comes Grove. He's going to be brought down as well on the sidelines here. Stink's trying to get himself out. There's no interest there, I think, in saving his buddy, but he finally does get brought down, and he has got... Oh no! He missed the Sons of Crimson Tide, so Shlink should also fall here. Clumsy stuff, and characteristically clumsy from Sinister 5. They lose 3-4, and effectively nothing. And even Castaway, who was darting the backline with the haste, wasn't able to catch up to the Doom. So Crimson Tide stays alive. And that is, in essence, DUC staying alive.
Yeah, that was really good. So they knew there was no RP, and Dota and Die, he didn't have Requiem, so he was just like, cheers guys, I'm out. And he just left his Terrorblade and he left his teammates behind. So I guess that's the right play. He went Witchblade on the Shadow Fiend. I don't like that. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't like that. Is he going for like an int build afterwards, like the Hex Shivas or something? No, he's going BKB Deslo, but he's got a Witchblade. I don't know. Maybe he's just trying to be viable because he hasn't had the best game. He knows his Death Prophet has kind of beaten him in the lane. It is above him on net worth, not by much. But that is interesting. Do you have a comment on the Switchblade build on the Shadow Fiend?
It's kind of weird. I can't think of any time that I've seen it actually. I mean, I guess it might have something to do with potentially doing some sort of magic-based build, and he's going to be straight into.
Oh, they cancelled this blink. Oh, he doomed him.
Doom off, but he got off. He got off the skewer, and if you look at Crimson Side, he's trying to figure out where exactly Castaway is. FSM should be able to cut him off. He's far. No, he goes.
No! You don't know.
Oh, hold on. They've actually. I stand corrected. That's deliberate. They've decided to back this one off.
Bro,
because
still looking for him.
Surely not. I mean, Dota dies around. FSM will sis up, and then they're picking him out because there's a problem. Bear in mind, he's got Trank, so that raise doesn't bother him too much. He's gonna run off, but guess who's back? Castaway. He catches out FSM, who will manage to get off the impel, but he is snookered here, surrounded by Sinister 5, and they'll bring him down in the end. Strange. I feel like there was a backhaul, because it looked like they kind of gave up on it, but they stuck around too long, and they were appropriately punished.
It goes back to those jitters there. I think that play is the right move, but your Lion has to catch the Magnus first, and if Lion doesn't catch him, then like you don't go for that play. But Lion is opting for an Aetherlin's full blink dagger, and I think that's a horrible move. Like you can't rely on this Doom to. I guess he's got the War Stomp from the creep that he's consumed, but you want something else to be able to jump with this Doom. And Lion is going Aetherlin's first. I guess it's to kind of deal with the Terrorblade illusions, so you can kind of just like mana drain them from far away and pop them. But I don't know if that's the play here, because you've got Grimstroke wanting to stand in the back already. No Doom though. 1 minute. And you can see Sin 5 feels very comfortable with no Doom up. Like there's no Doom. They can't double Doom us into fingers again. Yeah. Like Castaway is ready for this. Like Blink Hood, going for like a very tanky build, going Pipe next. Not much. I guess it's like really nice to block the Scorched Earth damage. So you can blink away from it then, because if the Pipe is up, the Scorched Earth doesn't like cancel your Blink Dagger. So there's little like cool mechanics that's because of that.
I don't know if you agree, but I kind of feel like Pipe is almost best used when there's just enough. You know what I mean? Like you don't want there to be too much magic damage because it almost feels like the only real value is the hoodie, the magic evasion gets popped off. So I actually feel like it's a nice spot here where there's definitely enough magic damage, but it'll hurt a Finger of Death, right? Like it'll make a Finger of Death feel a lot less potent. So it's that kind of thing that's good. But okay, Legend, they're gonna DUC are gonna go with Legend, take the Exorcism to bring down this tier 2 tower. But a beautiful little play from Sinister 5, who their response decide to take Roshan instead. And they will be able to finish off the tier 2, so a bit of a victory there in a way, but I think more of a victory for Sinister 5 because they realize that they're now playing with an Aegis into no Exorcism, and that is.
They didn't push out this bottom wave though. They should have cleared this catapult wave bottom before everyone TP'd out, because then at least this creep wave would have been hitting on the tier 3 of Sin 5, and you might force a hero back to base. They just all like bailed, and there's a catapult here, so it's definitely gonna push out. That's a little sloppy play.
Yeah, they managed to get straight into the high ground. They're going to drop the Metamorphosis as well. So bear in mind, the Aegis went to Dota and Die. They get the connection with
Double Doom.
Soul Bind, and the Double Doom does come out. So that is a huge engagement for them. And it looks like they'll get the first kill onto the Aegis carrier. Crimson Tide will have to back up there. They need to deal with what's left in their base. Dota and Die slowed. Try and get the ulti and maybe just bite! No! Clockwork got off a huge engagement and buys time for Castaway set up, but they haven't got the job done. Legend now on the front foot. He's going to start running after Castaway. He needs to keep himself alive though. He doesn't have a huge amount of support. He's being beamed down on by Aghanim, and they'll finish the job. And right now, it's just no answer to the Aghanim Terrorblade that's causing this havoc. They managed to bring down the Aegis pretty comfortably in the end, but they weren't able to finish the job in the team fight. And although Legend wanted to get on the front foot, Aghanim was just pat, dealing with the players which are coming into support, and unfortunately, unless they deal with that Terrorblade, they can't take team fights. We saw this the previous time. They get off a great engagement. This time was just as good, but the reality is Aghanim is just standing in a safe position, walks straight into the team fight and says, I don't care. I'll just use my Metamorphosis, use my illusions, and I'll deal with you. And it's only getting worse because he's almost got Skadi up as well now.
Yeah, Legend is going for this Ags build, which I know he likes on the Death Prophet a lot, but I think that's a build when you go when you're on the front foot, because then you can kind of bully heroes. I 100% feel that he needed to go Shiva's Guard here as his third item, Shiva's Guard or BKB. If he gets a Shiva's Guard or BKB, he's not as susceptible to the right clicks of this Terrorblade from the Shivas, and if you have BKB, then Clockwork and Shadow Fiend don't seem so scary to you. But just going like Ags, when you on the back foot. This Terrorblade you saw there, like TB, like I think 4 shot him, like just right clicked him 4 times. Are they gonna catch this?
All right, let's go. Stinks. He's in trouble here, but they need to make short work of it because if he does get anything off him, he's going to fight somebody that much harder. Won't even kill the courier, but Crimson Tide wants it. But it means he instead is sitting right on top of Castaway. That's an Invis and I don't think they have any reveal up, so they don't know exactly what's going on. And Castaway could use this, potentially surprise him. The backlines don't die fair is the first one. We're going to pull back the grip stroke. Hold on to that, Dennis, because we're happy to make sure this fight still happens. Legend uses the defensive Yules, but this is only going to buy himself a little bit longer of life, because he is brought down regardless. And Crimson Tide also being slowed. He's trying to get out, will not be caught up by the shockwave because he BKB's out. And Muffin Man also is able to scamper away, which means that they lose to just the clockwork. I love the fact they held on to that ulti from the Shadow Fiend. But anyways, I have a little bit of admin to do. Congratulations to Stephanie Hon. Is that Ink Dota?
That's Crimson Tide's. That's Crimson Tide's girlfriend.
Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you've won yourself a 250 Rand Steam voucher. But okay, well, you have to come and claim it, so you have a couple of minutes to come into the chat and say, hey, it's me, otherwise we're going to give it to somebody else. And hopefully we'll have enough time to reward you live.
Oh, she's definitely watching. She's definitely watching.
There's a real problem here, actually.
Like, my boyfriend's so shit at Dota, and she just, like, walks away.
They get off the Doom onto the Terrorblade, but he's immediately piped up. Did he steal? Yes, he did! The Rubik stole the Doom. They need to make sure he doesn't get this off. They do get the Grimstride ulti out as well. Schlinks on the front lines means that they will finish off the Doom. He fires back. The RP is on 3! And 3 will die alongside it. They buy back immediately, though, because they have to try and keep themselves alive here. It looks pretty over, though, for DUC. As Sinister 5 on the back of that Doom, and the back of it still available, might I add, to a Rubik with Blink.
Oh, Doom?
Who does use it and deletes the Lion alongside it. Means that Sinister 5 once more can lay claim to the base of DUC, and they should wrap things up nice and neatly here tonight. DUC, obviously, yeah, they're gonna call it GG. They realize it's over, but man, it's more so Sinister 5 looking really good. There was flashes of DUC moments, but the reality is that I guess Sinister 5 on the night and as a team are just looking too polished, and they're not going to make any mistake. They're going to have a very important little title behind their belt here, because they are the first team that has qualified to the winners bracket final for the very first EGL One. So that's always a nice feeling, always a little bit of history being made right here. Congratulations to Sinister 5. Of course, for DUC, it's not over just yet. They're going to go into the lower bracket. They will play, I believe, the winner of Hayes Gaming and Frostbite Esports. So definitely another opportunity for them to progress a little bit further. And I think they would probably feel like they're in good space to take that match. So, with that said, Hayes, they beat Team Pingu, and Frostbite beat IDGAF, who we were actually looking at as an interesting up-and-coming side. So neither side to be trifled with either. But all right, did we find our giveaway? Did our friend arrive? Are we giving away a Steam voucher?
I think it went to Stephanie on because I think Crimson is online in Dota. Like, we can also speak to the man there, or what is the little voice in our ear say? Okay, yeah,
it looks like it's all golden.
Yeah,
so
it's going to Stephanie. Congratulations.
Awesome.
To Steph. But yeah, like very crisp plays by Sun 5. DUC kind of didn't have a carry in this game because the Spectre was just never in the game. He didn't have the space to do anything on the map. He just completely like Grove on the Rubik was above him on net worth. Schlinks on the Pos 5 was only 2k behind him. It just feels bad when you're playing a hero like Spec and you can never get to that stage of the game where you're at your peak. So DUC going back to the drawing board, not another tournament like you said, but Sun 5 awaiting the winners of XD versus Energy, which will be happening on Thursday. Am I correct? Which will also be on the stream.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So obviously, I think of the two matches, this was an interesting one. It had a very interesting storyline because I think in the past, DUC had taken games of Sinister 5, but I guess this was somewhat the result we expected, a convincing victory for Sinister 5, and that's what we got. But obviously, going into the next matchup is, I think, the pick of the two. Energy and XD have both been on fire of recent times. They're both two sides that have won massive tournaments. Obviously, that's you know, a big, I'd say a really big matchup not to be missed. And I wouldn't be too surprised if the XT managed to pull that one off. Although, with that said, Energy are probably your #1 team in the country at the moment.
Yeah, like if you have to go on recent results, but it's a bit of a coin toss because we have seen the Sun 5 now, like they kind of like reformed, went back to the drawing board. Dota and Dai came back. I'm very interested. Like I actually want to like probably speak to Castaway in the next few days, and or like anyone from Sun 5 and just like kind of ask them like, with Dota and Dai coming back, why did Castaway not just move back to the mid lane, Dota and Dai go off lane? Because that was their staple for many years.
Yeah. I mean, that's and it's not like they weren't successful. I mean, he's probably one of the most winning players in our country, and he has performed almost like I think almost exclusively as mid laner. Like I can't actually think of. I mean, I'm sure there was some point where he probably, you know, went to carry for a minute.
Yeah,
he's a mid laner, right?
It could also be like an internal thing where they've kind of like evaluated that with the current meta that Dota and Dai is a better mid laner and Castaway is a better off laner, and the way they want to play. So that could be an evaluation that is sometimes healthy for teams to make those changes. But yeah, very interesting to see how the Thursday game pans out between XT and Energy, and then Sun 5 will be waiting for the winners.
Right. Well, and on that note, let's leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a pleasure casting for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know what the appropriate sign off for our Russian friends are, but let's just go with. Hey, welcome to SA Dota. It's been an exciting time, and I think next week's going to be just as exciting. I think next week's going to be an incredible matchup, and it's going to set a real tone for the rest of this tournament. It feels, every time we go a little bit further in this tournament, I feel a little bit more sad because I don't want it to end. But obviously, there must be a winner, and these sides are all getting one step closer to that final outcome, one way or another. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll call it there. Thank you so much. notAhero, always a pleasure. And yeah, we'll see you next time here at EGL One.